What would you do if you were given 3 wishes? What would you wish for? A toy? The latest and greatest pair of tennis shoes, perhaps? Or maybe you would wish someone in your life better health? Wouldn't it be fun to be given the chance? Or maybe not. Welcome to the Swedish story, Silly Wishes. The old woman was up to her elbows in flour, making bread for herself and her husband, who was out chopping wood. They didn't have much, and tonight was especially lean. They would only be eating bread and butter for dinner on this cold, cold night. There was a knock on the door that startled her. Who could this be? She wondered, as she rarely had company to come and visit. As she moved towards the door, she wiped her hands on the threadbare towel, and when she opened the door, she was surprised to find a lovely young woman standing there. The visitor quickly told the elderly woman that she had just moved in down the lane and was in need of a pan in which to make her nightly meal. She did not yet own a pan and would bring it back in the morning. The old woman prided herself on knowing who to trust. Many of the villagers had been tricked by fairies, but not her. She felt comfortable loaning her only pan to this kind young woman. Unfortunately, she wouldn't be needing the pan this evening, as she had nothing to cook. The next morning, when the young woman knocked on her door, the old woman was waiting, and just as she figured, when she opened the door, the same young woman was standing there with a pan in her hand. What came out of the visitor's mouth, however, was not expected. Because you were so kind to loan me your pan, I grant you and your husband 3 wishes. The old woman looked at her suspiciously, as she did not look or act like a fairy. But it had been a very long time since she had seen one. The fairy woman continued, "Please think long and hard about your wishes, as it is very easy to come to harm if you don't." Zzz. Just like that, she was gone. Now, one thing I know about fairies is that if you aren't careful, very, very careful, the wishes they grant can lead to trouble. Unfortunately, the old woman thought with her stomach instead of her brain when she blurted out, "I want a big, fat, juicy sausage for dinner tonight." Zzz, pop! A big, fat sausage landed smack dab in the middle of the pan that started this whole story. As the old woman started cooking the sausage, her husband walked into the cottage. He could not believe his nose. He was very tired and oh so hungry. Every night was bread and butter. This was a very welcome change. "How did you come to get such a fine sausage?" he asked. And the wife shared the story of the pan and the beautiful fairy woman. She was sure he would be so proud of her. But that was not the case. You fool!" foolish old woman," he yelled. "You could have wished for riches. We could be living in a fine cottage. You could have wished for anything in the world, and you wished for a sausage? What? Why?" The man began to shake with anger. His eyes were twitching and his fists were pounding on the table. "I wish for that sausage to be stuck up your nose." Zzz, pop! Just like that, the sausage flew from the pan and went straight up her nose. And no amount of pulling, pushing, tweaking, or even slapping moved that sausage. "Do something! Do something now!" cried the angry old sausage-faced woman. The husband went to his thinking spot, the chair beside the fireplace. He thought about the last wish and all the things that they could have. Oh, how nice it would be to have a pantry full of food, or to never have to go to sleep cold ever again. Gold, fine horses, riches beyond his imagination flashed before his eyes. And then he was brought out of his daydream by his wife's crying. "Oh!" He turned and looked at his wife. Oh, she was so miserable. He knew then what he had to do. "I wish for that sausage to be gone from your nose and be placed back in the pan where it belongs," wished the old man, using the final wish. Zzz, pop! The sausage flew from her nose and landed back in the pan, where it continued to cook until it was ready. The old man and woman sat down and enjoyed the best meal they had eaten in a very long time, and never spoke of the 3 wishes ever again.